All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're taking a really deeply intimate look at a fascinating piece of writing from David James Peterson's Substack, Metalog. We're going to explore this profound disconnect between the manufactured persona that people expect to meet and the unedited true self that's hiding underneath. It's a journey all about dismantling those defense mechanisms we build up over a lifetime. And honestly, it is incredibly relatable for anyone who has ever felt like they were just playing a character in their own life. Let's get started.
So I want to pose this question to you right out of the gate. What version of you do people expect to meet? For the author, he realized pretty early on that people were always waiting for him to lighten things up before anything real even had a chance to land. They expected a version of him that was quick, easy, and, a little disarming. And the thing is, he deliberately performed this lighter, easier version of himself because it kept things from getting too serious. He built this version on purpose, and we're going to look at exactly why he did it. Section 1, The Mask of Likability, a survival buffer. What's really interesting about this phase of his life is that this funny, disarming persona, it wasn't actually a natural trait at all. On the outside, you've got this outer mask, funny, easy, and focused entirely on being a survival buffer. But on the inside, the inner reality was someone who felt completely uncomfortable in his own skin. He was hiding the truth and avoiding any deep scrutiny. Basically, if he couldn't be confident, well, he could at least be funny, right? It ensured no one looked too closely at him. But the real danger here, as the author points out, is when a protective buffer stops feeling like a temporary tool and actually starts feeling like your core identity.
Section 2, The Abandoned Passion, Finding Sound.
So, if the humor was just a mask, what was actually underneath the whole shebang? Turns out, beneath the mask was a profound, buried core of identity. He writes, it was a quiet, solitary kind of joy, the kind you don't have to explain to anyone else. What he loved, deeply and truly, was sound. Picture this 12-year-old kid wiring old broken speakers and ancient AM tube sets together. None of it matched, but when it worked, he found a sense of belonging. It was an authentic joy for a kid who never quite figured out where he fit in. And listen, this wasn't just a hobby. By age 19, this pure connection to sound organically grew into a successful, trusted career. He was building something real, and he was undeniably good at it.
Which brings us to Section 3, The Weight of Duty, Walking Away. Now, despite his incredible natural success, things took a sharp turn. The crucial point here is how quickly we can lose our authentic voice when we bow to external pressures. Step 1. He didn't just drift away from his successful career in sound, he deliberately walked away from it. He bought into the advice that to show true spiritual obedience, you must be willing to give up what you love, to, let go and let God. Step 2. He spent years maintaining someone else's choices by taking over his dad's business. It literally stopped feeling like a decision and just became his life. And step 3, throughout all this, he was prioritizing likability and duty over his own deep convictions. During this time, he even took a pretty successful detour into politics, managing a winning campaign. People started telling him, hey, you should run for office yourself. But he quickly realized the stark difference between calculation and conviction. From a distance, politics looked like conviction, but up close, it required a level of calculation that he just knew would cost him his self-respect. So he stepped away from that too. Section 4, The Inevitable Collapse, Layers of Loss. Look, you can only carry the weight of other people's expectations and wear a mask of levity for so long before something absolutely breaks. For the author, this built into an absolute breaking point through a rapid, devastating succession of losses that just arrived all at once. Month 1, a divorce. Month 2, the death of his father. Month 3, a business hanging in the balance that ultimately collapsed. It wasn't a single clean break. It was layer upon layer of loss. And under the crushing seriousness of real life, that well-worn mask of the funny, easy guy finally shattered. It just simply stopped working. In the immediate aftermath of this total collapse, a major shift happened. He just stopped performing for others. He stopped cushioning everything just to make people comfortable. He completely dropped the need for likability. Instead, he pushed into public spaces, utilizing social media to hone a clear, unconstructed voice. He started speaking with pure conviction about things that actually matter to him, regardless of whether it cost him his status as the likable guy. Moving to Section 5, the catalyst for clarity, the forcing function. Just as he was gradually shifting toward this newfound honesty, an ultimate forcing function entered his life and made this change entirely permanent. Cancer.
There is no clean way to frame that word. As the author notes, it doesn't arrive with a neat metaphor that softens the blow. It doesn't gently offer a lesson. It forces one right upon you. This diagnosis brutally cuts through any remaining avoidance. Whatever version of yourself you've been maintaining out of sheer habit or societal expectation, this reality strips it away instantly. And this brought about a core transformation. The old way was all about negotiating internally, asking, how is this truth going to be received by others before deciding to speak it? The new way, forced by his diagnosis, brought absolute clarity. It meant zero editing and ending all internal negotiation. And what's incredibly profound about this is that the shift wasn't born out of anger or defiance toward the world. Not at all. It was born out of pure, unfiltered truth.
Section 6. The Unedited Self. No more shield.
When you suddenly start showing up as your true, unfiltered self, it naturally creates some social friction. People who expected the old, easy version of him, they didn't know what to do. They mistook his unedited clarity for a rejection of his past. But as he beautifully puts it, this isn't reinvention. It's removal. Stripping away what wasn't real, until what's left finally is. He didn't become a totally new person. Actually, scratch that. It's more like he didn't abandon his sense of humor, he just stopped using it as a shield. He stopped prioritizing other people's comfort over his own truth. And so, we return right back to the beginning. Thematically, his journey bookends perfectly. He is back to being that kid alone in the room, wiring together broken pieces, trying to make something real out of whatever is right in front of him. Only this time, he's no longer guessing at the design. He is building his life with absolute certainty. It might not be the version of him you remember, but it's a better one, because this one is real.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take away from our time today. What layers are you currently maintaining just out of habit? Are you using humor, likability, or obedience as a buffer? What would happen if you stripped away the manufactured self and just stopped negotiating your truth? It's a fascinating challenge, and one absolutely worth exploring. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to reflect on your own unedited self today. Catch you next time.